Hey, welcome back to True-Moto-Resto, and in this video we're going to see if we can get rid of the paint runs in this tank. It was kind of amateur hour the day that I went to put the clear coat on this, so now I've got a couple of runs to deal with, so stay tuned. We'll see how it works. So before I get too far into dealing with the clear coat runs in the tank, I will preface this video by saying the files, the paint run files that you're going to see me use in this video are not absolutely necessary. You can just kind of use 800 wet sandpaper and do the whole thing, but my buddy offered them to me to try, so that's why you're going to see me use them on this tank. Not necessary, but I had access to give it a shot, so I thought, why not? And I think the reason that I actually got the runs in this tank, to be quite frank, is that the day that I went to paint the second set of clear coat on here after I put the decals on, I arrived at my buddy's paint booth with my gun, my paint gun, but I forgot the tips. So there was no fluid tips for my gun, because I don't keep them with the gun. I keep them in some gun wash just to make sure they don't ever get clogged up, and I forgot them, so I have to use his gun, and his gun puts out a little bit more paint, I would say, than my gun does, and I'm not as adept at adjusting my painting speed and distances and whatnot as he is. He can accommodate pretty much any gun, and I don't have the skills and experience yet to know, where I've got to speed up or change my distance depending on the gun that I'm using. So probably shouldn't blame the tools, and I'm really not. The gun's a good gun, of course. It's a professional grade gun. It was just my my lack of experience using it. But anyway, let's get on with the fix. So I guess I should mention as we get into this paint run correction that it's been about 10 days since I painted and clear coated this tank and got the runs in it. So the reason you want to wait, and some folks say, wait 2, 3, 4 days or whatever. True, but if you go at it too soon, and these runs were pretty big, then the actual kind of drip part of the run stays tacky in the center for quite a while, and if you go at it too soon, then you end up with like a soft spot in the middle, and it just kind of makes a whole mess of it. So far better to wait a little longer and make sure that drip has fully cured and hardened up, and then it's going to be a lot easier and less chance of running. There's also a couple of little drips here on the edge that and they actually still feel a little bit soft if you push them with your nail. I mean, they're not 100% hard yet, those particular ones, and there's a couple here. They're going to get taken off with a razor blade, but the ones that I'm working on down here, I'll show you those. They seem to be hardened up quite nicely. So I'm going to start to try to fix the runs in the clear coat. So what I've done first and foremost here is I've just kind of taped off some of the area around the runs. So basically inside here is where the runs are limited to, and I just put the tape here just to kind of limit the opportunity for me to scratch areas where I don't want to scratch stuff. So we use these paint files. This one I'm finding it a little bit potentially too aggressive. I'll try it again just to see, but basically you just lightly drag this across it just seems to grab and tear too much, so I'm going to stick with this finer one. And you don't push on these, apparently. I've never used them before. You just kind of lightly drag it across the surface of the run and try to file it down, I guess. And if I'm not happy with the way this is going, I'm just going to go back to using sandpaper because I'm not really familiar with these things and I don't want to make an unnecessary mess out of everything. I guess the idea is these things will allow you to file down the actual, the big nub part, I'll call it. I don't know how else to describe it. The where you really see that teardrop shaped part of the run. It'll allow you to knock that down a lot faster than you can with a bit of 800 grit, I guess. So let me bring in for a closer view here, and then you can kind of see the goings on here. Okay, so there you go. There is the main part of the run, and really this is just filing it down. So there's another one up here. You see that one, smaller one? There's another one there, and then let's find them. There they are. There's two there. So it's kind of all of this has to get sanded back as well, right? But I'm just going to use the files on these big nubs here. I'm not going to try to file this down. This is all going to get done with wet sandpaper, same as this. You can see there's a bit of a sag in the clear coat right there. So yeah, I think I'm going to restrict those files to just to these nubs, and then we'll see how it goes. I'll get the sandpaper out from there. Okay, so I'm rapidly getting to the point now where I'm not comfortable anymore using the file. I've kind of knocked the bulk of it down. I might give this one just a little bit more of a go, but I don't want to get too much further into this surrounding area where it's a little bit lower. Here it's a bit higher. I'm not too worried that'll all get buffed out, but I don't want to start hitting down here. So I've taken the bulk of the runs out with that. Again, I can still feel it, but it does work. It does work quite well. This is what the one looks like on the face of it. This is the more aggressive one, which I didn't use. That one just doesn't feel good to use to me. And then this is the kind of the finer, and you can only use them in one direction. Like it cuts only in one direction only, and you don't want to push on it. You just basically want to put it on the surface and just lightly drag it across. So that's basically what I've been doing. Just kind of like this. All right, so the next step for me is this is 800, using it wet. And what I'm going to do is I'm either going to wrap it around this little rubber block here, or I've got this piece of foam. This is actually sandpaper as well, but I'm not going to use the sandpaper side. I'm just going to use it and wrap the 800 wet around it, just to kind of give me a bit more of a compliant surface. Keeps it flat so I don't use my finger, kind of use it maybe like that. And I think my next objective is, obviously I want to get all of these file marks out. I don't want to go too far into the lower part of the paint yet. Up here we'll probably get scuffed up in 800, and then I'm going to go to 1,000, then 1,200, then 2,000 or 1,500 or whatever, and I'll work all my way up to 3,000 grit. And once that's done, then I'll hit it with the buffer. But one step at a time. Let's see how it goes. And I'm going to leave the tape on for now as well, because I don't want to get any areas unnecessarily marked up if I can help it. Okay, so that's after a couple of minutes with the 800 wet. Now, again, I was hoping to avoid going down here, but I really can't, just because you've kind of got to use I was using these kind of sanding blocks and whatnot, and it's just, you need to get it flat. So that's fine. I've resided to the fact that I'm just going to kind of keep going very, very gently. I mean, the professionals can probably do this with a DA, with a sander and whatnot. But the truth is, I'm not a professional, and I would just much rather take my time and doing this at this stage of it manually until I get to the 3000, and then I can give it a very light going over with my DA. But I'd just rather take it slow. You know, once it's off, it's off. You can't add it back, and it would be kind of too easy to burn through this sort of stuff. So that's the plan. I'm just gonna go a little bit further now by hand. I'm gonna move up to 1000 wet. I'll bring you back in once I get a little bit further. Okay, we're up to 1200, and I've taken the tape off everywhere, kind of except at the top here. So the good news is all the run is basically gone, and what you're starting to see right here is just kind of the normal, like even if I was to sand up here, it looks perfectly smooth. Looks perfectly smooth, but in actual fact, there are very, very slight imperfections in the clear coat, and that's normal. That's not because of any sort of mistake or problem in the paint finish necessarily. It's just that you're going to get a certain amount of orange peel, at least in my experience. That's what I understand, and that's a lot of the reason why in the high quality show car finishes, this becomes unacceptable. I mean, if you did this, if you sanded your production car that you got off the car lot last week with 1200, it would show something similar to this. But a lot of people, if they want the best possible finish like glass, they'll wet sand it, 1200, 1500, 2000, 3000 until all this is gone, and then buff it, and then your finish is truly like glass. See, that looks pretty good up there. I guarantee you, if I hit it with anything sandpaper wise, it will look like that. But anyway, the good news is 99% gone with the run. There's a couple of very, very slight spots here where you can still see it, but by the time I get through that with the the 2000 and the 3000, that's going to also be gone. So time for me to take the rest of this off, and then I can move on to 2000 grit. I'm up to 2000 now. I did 1500, and I'm having second thoughts on whether I'm actually going to use my DA. I don't think I am. I just want to kind of keep the repair area as small as possible. I don't want to, because in my mind the paint's still reasonably fresh, and I just don't want to make a mess of anything. So I think I can achieve just keep wetting this down. You don't want to use this stuff dry. Again, I'm just using a really, really small piece of paper on this sponge backer here. So let's see what it looks like when we dry it all off. Looking pretty good. It's nice and smooth. We'll touch that with the 3000, and then we can hit it with the buffing compound. So here's my buffer. It is Simonized. It's a multi-speed. I usually keep it fairly low. I don't want to burn anything. And I'm not a professional, so what you're about to see on the stuff I do here, this is just kind of not the first time I've done it, but this is not something I do every day. So if you are a professional body person, bear with me. I'm doing the best I can here, and maybe you've got some tips and advice along the way as I do this. But yeah, I'm just kind of learning as I go. So this is a foam pad, and it's got I'm just gonna knock off some of the crusty bits in here from the last time I used it. But I think the the keys to success here are, you don't want to stay too long in one place, and just not too much pressure, not too much speed. And I'm also wetting this thing down. You don't want to use this thing dry. It needs to be damp, not soaking wet, which is kind of what it is now. So I have to maybe I'll mop some of that up with my paper towel. But anyway, you get the idea. Damp, and then I'm going to use, from a compound perspective, it's this stuff. Cutting compound. So I'm just going to go at it lightly, do a little bit of buffing, and then I'm going to take it off with a microfiber cloth, clean one, and then see how it looks, and if I need to do it again, I'll do it again. So that's the plan. So I'm just putting a couple little dabs on the edge of this thing. That's all I need. Taking that compound off the bottom there and putting it back on my pad. Okay. Let's see how that looks. Pretty darn good. Pretty darn good. Magic. No more runs. All right, thanks for watching. That's going to wrap up the video. I hope it was useful and informative on the process of removing those runs in the clear coat. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.